Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the amazing Nerdiverse. I am Jeff Grant.
And I am Steven Tucker.
Okay, so we got another week of like season premieres.
Yep.
We had Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow.
Big week.
Debut this week.
Big week.
So we're going to talk about those. We got a lot of other movie news and other stuff and a super secret surprise that I haven't told you about, but something we get to talk about you're going to enjoy.
When you say you haven't told you about, do you mean me or the audience?
Well, neither. I mean, we just started the episode. I haven't mentioned it yet to them. But yeah, I haven't told you about this because I just want to spring it on you and you'll enjoy it.
What is it?
All right, we'll get there. Just be patient, wait, and you'll see.
I want to know now.
All right. So first, before we jump into the secret surprise,
Just whisper it to me. What is it?
fuck you.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're gonna jump into the movie news. First up, today, Thursday the 13th, They released a brand new Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
I hate that title.
Why?
Just a Star Wars story. I don't know. It just could be
doing
Rogue
anything to you.
One.
For people who don't know what the hell it is,
I know, but it
Rogue
could have just been Star Wars Rogue One. Like, I don't know. I never liked a Star Wars story. Or
Does it say
a Star
story
Wars
or movie?
tale. No, a story.
It says story?
Yeah, it's the official title is Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just calling it Rogue One. Either way, forget the title because the trailer looked awesome.
Yeah.
Got to see
really
a
good.
little bit more of Vader coming through that fog.
His fog machine that he has?
Yeah, the little fog machine in there. Walking up to, I think that's Krennic.
I don't know who that is.
That's the bag that you will know in 2 months' time.
In 2 months'
We
time?
only got 2 months to wait before the brand new Star Wars movie.
That's not bad.
That's pretty exciting. And we got 3 weeks to wait before Doctor Strange. And in this new Rogue One trailer, we got to see a little bit more of Mads Mikkelsen, who's having a hell of a year this year. He's the villain in Doctor Strange, and he built the Death Star in Rogue One. He's the guy that played Hannibal.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that guy. He is great.
Yeah, he's good.
Hannibal's like, I love that show. It was fantastic. He was so good as the character, and I'm so glad to see him already. Like, the show was just canceled, last year or something?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, a year or two.
How many seasons did that go?
It went 3 seasons, and the bummer thing is it really should have went a 4th because they would have finally been able to get to the Silence of the Lambs storyline, and I heard rumors that they wanted to cast Ellen Page as Clarice.
Okay.
Thought that would have been pretty cool and fit that world. And they did such a good job. They did like the Red Dragon stuff.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the 3rd season was Red Dragon, and it was really well done.
Okay.
Liked it a lot. Anyway, that's not the topic right now. We're talking about the Rogue One trailer. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was entertaining.
Like, it feels even more Star Wars-y to me than like even The Force Awakens and
Does
everything. I guess if you highlight the word wars, because it looks like a damn war movie set in the Star Wars universe.
I think it looks interesting because I don't know any of these characters.
Yeah, but they're important because we've heard about them since 1977 in the opening crawl of A New Hope, where it says a band of rebel pilots stole the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah, now this is that.
Yeah, we finally get to see that.
So hopefully they'll do a movie based on the opening credits for Phantom Menace.
What was which is the one that started out war, like the opening crawl?
I don't know.
I think it might have been episode 3 or something.
I don't know, but I want to see all the
just war. I want to see that one.
I want to see all the Federation trades, all the paperwork,
all the trade federations and all the Senate meetings and
I want to see all that.
Yeah, I want to see the origins of that. Jesus. All right. But yeah, like they're doing prequel. This is them finally doing a prequel right. It's not about telling, where this person came from, but it's telling a story that takes place earlier with some of the characters we know, some new characters that we didn't know of, like Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker's character in this movie, the guy with the metal feet. It looked like was that him? Yeah, the metal feet.
Forrest Whitaker had no feet.
That character, Saw Gerrera, is from the Clone Wars cartoon.
Oh, is he?
So he's playing a cartoon character. This is the first time we've seen it. Like the reverse, where we saw it as a cartoon character first.
Huh. Okay.
In the Star Wars, I mean, yeah, pretty much everybody was already in the prequels or the original trilogy when they did Clone Wars, and
I'm excited to see it because like I have no attachment to like. I don't like with the Force Awakens, like Han Solo. Okay,
Yeah, we
I
know Han, we know
yeah,
Leia and
all that stuff.
Chewbacca and the Falcon and
Yeah,
all those things. Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's in it.
What? The Falcon? I wish. You think that movie better?
I mean, technically they could because actually no, they can't. They can't do any kind of fun crossover stuff because of one line in Civil War.
What?
When Spider-Man's like, "Hey, you guys know that really old movie?"
Oh yeah. They're both owned by Disney.
Yeah, but they could have had a crossover where like they go to space and like
the Guardians meets like the crew of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, could have happened.
I would watch the hell
they ruined
out of that
it
movie
because of one line in Civil War.
Way to go, Spider-Man! You screwed it up for all of us. All right, let's move on. We talked about this last week, but since then there's been some new developments. Remember we were talking about Sigourney Weaver?
Is this a secret surprise?
No.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about Sigourney Weaver? It sounds like she was circling a Marvel project.
Who she is?
Well, we don't know the character, but she has just been cast as the main villain in The Defenders.
Okay.
So the Defenders are going to team up to fight Ellen Ripley. I wish they would just make her Ellen Ripley. Most badass character of all time. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that because
Dana Barrett.
We were speculating about Death or the original Wasp, but no, we don't know which character she's going to play, but she might have some ties to the Hand, which a lot of people believe to be the villain in The Defenders.
That would be a good...
Yeah.
Because it would give him like an army type fight.
Yeah, just like the way season 2 of Daredevil ended. Because
like Daredevil can pretty much handle them all.
Yeah.
Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are pretty much invincible, so they can swatting them off.
Yeah, and then Iron Fist.
He knows that super karate.
Did you see the trailer for Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good. Like
those tap light hands.
The action fight scenes from Daredevil, if we like those, we're gonna love what we see with Iron Fist, who's even more of a badass ninja man.
Ninja man.
Sticking with the Marvel Netflix universe, I'm trying to.
Danny Rand, Ninja Man.
They just confirmed that Karen Page, Deborah Ann Wool from Daredevil, she's gonna be in The Punisher.
Okay.
She's gonna appear in The Punisher. That. Yeah, they're filming that right now. Yeah.
I thought maybe like he was like appearing in Iron Fist or something. Maybe that was the...
No? I think they're done shooting Iron Fist.
Oh.
I believe at this point.
Can I see it?
I wish. Hey, Netflix or Marvel, if anybody, or Danny Rand himself, if anyone's listening. What's the guy's name that plays him?
Dillard?
No, is it Finn?
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones, yeah, from Game of Thrones. All right. So we were talking it was either last week or the week before, about a live-action Lion King movie.
Yeah.
Disney is going nuts, man, right now, ordering every live-action movie. Well, we talked about it last week. There's a lot more. Well, there's at least 2 more for sure that we're going to talk about right now.
Let me try to guess.
Okay.
How many more?
There's 2 that we were going to talk about right now. There's others that have been in development for a while, but there's 2 that have been come up within the past week or so.
One. Aladdin.
Yes.
Really?
Aladdin. Okay. They're talking about, and they set up Guy Ritchie to direct it, which I think is a really strange call. It just doesn't seem to fit his style. Like, Guy Ritchie did like the Sherlock Holmes movies and everything, and a bunch of those other action movies and everything. I just don't feel like it fits within his style, but I mean, Disney knows what they're doing, I assume.
I can't think of a second one.
Well, the second one is Mulan.
Oh, okay.
And they have said, because there's been a big thing lately about even Doctor Strange was called into question for it, the casting of typically like Asian characters at just like whitewashing with the casting, like the Ghost in the Shell, the anime. They're doing a live action movie with Scarlett Johansson, and she's white as all hell. So
wait, what is she? Oh, okay.
The Ghost in the Shell. So it's an animated. It's based on an anime, but
I see.
They cast a white woman in it. Yeah, so but Disney has said we're not doing that with Mulan.
Right.
It's all Asian, or the love interest, the main characters, all that stuff, which is great.
So is there going to be like a little CGI dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy?
They should bring Eddie Murphy back as the dragon. What was his name in that?
I don't remember, but all he has to do is...
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
He's got to put on that mocap suit.
Yeah. I'd watch just that. Just the footage of him in the little gray suit with ping pong balls.
Is there a problem, officers?
Did you know...
Spaces.
Yeah. Did you know Mulan was voiced by Agent May from Agents of
really?
S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know
play
that.
in the movie then.
Yeah. I don't know. She might be a little too old because she's supposed to be kind of young going off to war, but I'd like to see her in the movie because she's a great actress. I really like her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a badass.
Was that all the ones that are coming up next for Disney?
Those are the two big ones that have been in discussion. There's also I don't know if this is by Disney or not.
Dude,
I know
that
they're
genie
doing
is going to be hard to...
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that.
is the genie.
Yeah. Who would you cast if you were going to cast a live action genie now with any actor that we know?
Honestly, I might not even, just because...
Zach Galifianakis?
Okay.
If you don't know, if you're listening, you might not know. Steven is I mean, we're both big fans of him, but Steven, you're a massive Zach Galifianakis
That would be
fan.
a huge...
Like
style
going back
change.
from when he was in stand up and stuff.
That would be a huge style
yeah,
change.
yeah,
of the
it'd be
genie.
different. But yeah, I don't know. I
That's a tricky...
I'm real iffy on I think Mulan sounds great.
Yeah.
But Aladdin, I'm kind of iffy on it because, like I said a couple weeks ago or last week, that's like my favorite Disney movie.
Can I
Aladdin.
play the monkey?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, oh God, who was it? Someone famous voiced the monkey, voiced Taboo.
Why?
I don't know, but when you hear who it is, if I remember correctly, I got to look it up. But
It was Anthony Hopkins.
no, it's like a voice guy. He's
Tom
like
Cruise. Terry Crews.
Terry Crews as the genie would be awesome.
He's just yelling at people.
Yeah,
Okay.
make a wish.
Pushing Aladdin every now and then.
Yeah,
Andy Samberg.
as Aladdin.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank Welker.
I don't know who's that.
He's a voiceover. He's a voice guy that's done like voices from everything.
Everything?
Yeah, like Scooby Doo and like Transformers, and he's definitely done his voiceover work. He
Scooby-Doo.
was Nibbler on Futurama.
Here's the thing.
But they had a guy do those monkey
Right.
voices. It sounded. I never knew that.
You ever notice how Scooby and Shaggy run at the same speed?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that Scooby's really slow or Shaggy's really fast?
Yeah, because dogs are usually faster than people. Why are we thinking this much
So
about
is-
Scooby Doo?
So is Shaggy the fastest man alive?
Shaggy is
It's
the Flash.
Barry Allen.
My,
He's Jay Garrick.
It's like, my name is Shaggy.
Zoinks!
Zoinks! Like I was struck by a lightning bolt. The particle accelerator.
So is Fred the reverse Flash?
Yes. he's got the yellow costume with the ascot over it.
So is Velma like a Cisco, or is she?
Velma's Caitlin and Scooby is Cisco. All right. Anyway, this is getting stupid. All right. One last thing I want to talk about. We don't really talk about wrestling a whole lot, but this is someone you know about from your time of watching, so I figured I'd bring it up.
Cactus Jack.
I wish. Last week, Bill Goldberg was on SportsCenter, and he was talking and talking about. And people always ask him if he's ever going to come back, have another match.
Mm-hmm.
He started talking about, he's like, there's a plethora of guys I'd like to, that haven't had the opportunity to kick their ass yet. And then he said, but he always wanted to have another match with Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about that on SportsCenter. They kept talking about it on Raw this past Monday.
Uh-huh.
Paul Heyman came out and addressed that.
Right.
And then by the end of Raw, Goldberg tweeted, I'll be there next week. So it looks like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar are going to have a match.
Is Brock Lesnar the...
Brock Lesnar's like the Hulk. He's the
Right.
monster that just smashes through everyone.
Was he the
in
one that
every
was
match.
called the Legend Killer?
No, that was Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Didn't
but
we discuss that before? Like, Legend Killer. I mean, like, yeah, when they're 80, it's not hard to...
yeah, it's not hard to defeat all the legends, quote unquote. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I know a couple buddies of mine who like what was that? I think it was SummerSlam, the pay-per-view. He kept guessing that my buddy Tommy, he was like, all right, Goldberg's gonna come out now.
Right.
I'm like, he's not gonna come out. And then by the end of the night, I was like, is he gonna come out? Like he kind of talked me into thinking Goldberg would come out. But I don't know. I'm curious to see Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. I think realistically, Brock Lesnar would destroy him.
Right.
Just based on, the past like 10 years of wrestling, where since he came back a couple years ago, since he came back to the WWE, he's just been demolishing people. But Yeah, I would like to see Goldberg come back and have a little bit of a tear like through a couple of the current guys, like and build that. You watched back in the day in WCW.
I remember when he was like
undefeated,
whatever number undefeated.
Yeah,
Who's
it was
next?
like 169-0
Right.
and all that stuff. The Who's Next thing, like I'd like to see them
I was
kind
there
of do
when he
that
lost.
again. You were?
Yeah.
I was there when
When
he beat Hulk Hogan for the world title.
I was there when Kevin Nash like beat him up. And,
Yeah.
like turned all bad and stuff
Yeah.
and started cattle prodding him.
Yeah.
I was there.
Awesome. We were there for 2 big moments in Bill Goldberg's career. You can hear all about it on the Amazing Nerdiverse. All right. That's it for the movie news. Now it's time for the special thing I was going to talk about.
Aladdin?
This, I believe, Sunday, the 16th, is the 15th anniversary of Smallville.
Wow.
15 years. And if you've been listening to this podcast at all, you know that both of us were massive fans of Smallville.
Yep.
We watched every episode. We were like, I remember as far back as at least season 2 or 3 is when I got into it and was watching it pretty just religiously from there on. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time before we move on to talk about Supergirl, to talk about the last Superman iteration we got on TV, which was Smallville.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think these CW shows would be possible today if it weren't for the 10-year run of Smallville that ended just a year before Arrow started.
Every CW show now, like if they don't have a costume in the first episode, like they're done.
Yeah.
We had to wait
10 years. 10 years.
And then he only kind of put it on.
Yeah, and we only saw it from
afar,
far away shots, or just like a foot, or like kind of like we saw Superman in the first season of Supergirl. Like, it was like that.
We saw more Superman in Supergirl than we did
saw in Smallville.
Right.
In 10 years. But I love the show. We didn't know any better. We didn't know that we could have...
Well, we knew better.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know that it was possible for them to do these kind of superhero shows on TV at the time.
Right.
Like, we wanted them to.
Of course.
And like, even when they brought in Green Arrow, it was like, well, why can't you? There is a guy in a suit doing the superhero thing.
You know what? For a little while, I almost thought it would be fun for us to do a Smallville podcast. Like, where each episode we just talk about, like, you know, an episode.
Yeah. There's shows like, there's podcasts like that where they talk about a TV show.
I even had a great title for it.
Stick to it. What was it?
The Best Lawyers and Doctors.
Because every time Lex got an opportunity, he would work it in that he has all the best doctors and lawyers. That was a running joke for us. We always talk about that. So yeah, let's talk about a couple of our favorite moments from Smallville. What are some things that stick out to you?
It's like, I mean, obviously there's like cool moments, but it's just like silly stuff that we had talked about. Where like every time someone would ask Clark a question, and like he wouldn't be able to answer, and he'd kind of have that stupid look on his face.
At the end of the episode, or
right before the commercial
break. Yeah, he just like he'd open his mouth as if he's about to talk and just kind of look around like he doesn't know what to say. That was like every act break on that show.
It'd be great if they came back from the commercial and like Lex is looking at him like, "Are you gonna say something, bro?
You've been standing there for 2 full minutes." Yeah. So I mean, a great like measuring stick of that show is just like the highlights to me were always when they would introduce a character we knew from the comics and stuff, like an took them
Aquaman.
years to do. Yeah, like it took them like 3 or 4 years to get into those cameos and appearances and stuff. But they did, you know, Aquaman. They did Bart Allen, Impulse. Mm-hmm. They did Cyborg. Those are the first like few they did, and then eventually they did the Justice episode, which was all of them teaming up. It was like kind of like a little Justice League thing.
I remember that.
Which is pretty cool. But they just all had like
jackets.
Sleeveless hoodies or jackets or stuff that was just color coded. That was as close to a costume as they got. I did think at the time it was kind of clever. Oh, he always wears a blue shirt and a red jacket. It's kind of like Superman. Kind of.
Not quite.
Not exactly, but
better than Gotham.
Yeah.
Because he's at least old enough
to do something about stuff. Yeah.
God.
They did the JSA, which we finally we saw a little bit of JSA stuff, and
I liked all the Lex Luthor stuff. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, I will be honest. I think that's my favorite version of Lex.
Oh yeah.
In live action. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other options. I mean, I like what Gene Hackman did, but it's not quite the version of Lex that I know from the comics.
Right.
Maybe at the time, in the late 70s, it was probably closer.
Well, I
never really read a lot of really
he
old
wasn't
Superman
always
stuff.
trying to, what is it?
Like a real estate scam?
Real estate, that's the word I was looking for.
And then Kevin Spacey, I liked him as Lex, but he was doing the same version.
Right, he was doing what he was told.
And then Jesse Eisenberg was doing something else. But yeah, so I honestly do think Michael Rosenbaum is my favorite live-action Lex Luthor. He fit the character, and he had 7 years, because he was on the show from season 1 to season 7.
Something else. I really don't know what he was doing.
Yeah. See, you know what? When they cast Jesse Eisenberg, I was like, I don't know.
Like, I thought...
And then they released that picture of him bald.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, wait a minute. He kind of looks like Michael Rosenbaum's.
Right.
I was like, well, maybe they'll be doing a
more
Rosenbaum-y
maybe he has something
version.
up his sleeve, something different.
Yeah.
Boy, did he.
Yeah, for sure he had something different.
I really didn't like when he put that Jolly Rancher in that other dude's mouth.
You didn't?
I did.
Really?
Like,
I think you might be alone in that. I'm pretty sure everyone else loved that.
I don't care if you're a billionaire. If you try to put a Jolly Rancher in my mouth with your gross hands, I'm going to slap you away.
It was a cherry one, wasn't it?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's a decider for
me. Right. My bad, everyone. My bad. I wasn't aware that I was the weirdo in this situation.
All right, so...
what if he did that to Superman? That would be much more dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, like
in the scene where he was making Doomsday.
When he was making,
or showing him pictures of his mother.
He has another Jolly Rancher. And
he's just a Jolly Rancher. Oh my god, that would have been great. Or like even at the end when like he's in the prison cell.
With Batman?
And Batman's there just...
He just has like a pocket full of loose Jolly Ranchers.
That would have been amazing. So back to Smallville. So...
That was a great show. Lionel.
Villains. Lionel was great. Let's talk about some of the villains. Brainiac was season 7.
Great one.
James Masters, is that right?
Yeah.
Masters? Yeah, he was
Masters.
Spike from Buffy. Played Brainiac. I really liked that season. I liked him as that character. You had Doomsday. Sam Witwer was was it Bloom? David Bloom or something? It was like it was kind of like a almost like a Hulk thing where he transformed into Doomsday.
Zod?
I didn't quite like that, but I do like that actor. Zod was season, what was that, 9?
Yeah, that was like one of the last ones.
Yeah. And then the last season was Darkseid.
Yes.
Which I liked. I loved Lex, liked Brainiac. Doomsday I was iffy on because of they kind of did what they could with the budget or whatever. It was kind of really...
That was pretty good for...
It was all right, yeah. It at least looked like you didn't really ever get a really good shot at Doomsday in that.
Right.
But what you saw, it kind of looked, in keeping with the comics version of Doomsday. Zod, I liked the guy that played Zod.
Yeah.
I liked the way they did that. And then Darkseid, I didn't really like that. They never really full on did Darkseid, which is the problem with that show, is they never really full on did anything.
They just put him in a...
Yeah, every...
Matrix Superman towards the end there.
Remember? He was wearing the black... Yeah, Matrix Superman, the black... trench coat and all that stuff. They never quite other than Green Arrow, they never fully
For a while he had that red leather jacket.
Yeah.
A little weird.
It was a little weird. It was all right, but I don't know. It's just he had the most frustrating part is he had the damn suit in the Fortress of Solitude for the longest time, and he never put it on until the last episode. And it's like, you have it. Why don't you put it on?
You want to segue?
To what?
The lady that played his mom.
Oh, yeah.
Played Supergirl in the old movies.
No.
Yeah, she did.
No, she played Lana in the old movies. No.
I'm talking Kryptonian mom. Laura L.
Oh, Helen Slater?
Yeah, stupid.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his Martha.
You think I don't know?
Martha was
You think
Lana.
I don't know who Martha played before? You think I'm dumb, son?
What about his dad? You don't know nothing about the Dukes of Hazzard. Which they did an episode where, what was it, Tom Wopat? Is that the other guy's name?
I don't know his other name.
But he came in and they were driving around. Them Duke boys are at it again. Anyway.
I think I don't know my Smallville.
You're right. I forgot about Helen Slater. But yeah, she was, and now she's Supergirl's adopted mom on the show Supergirl.
With
Dean Cain.
who was Superman.
Yeah, who also appeared in an episode of Smallville, and I love that. Like,
that's right.
And even Margot Kidder was in there, and of course Christopher Reeve was in there.
Yep.
Like even before
he was in there like season 2.
Yeah, he was in pretty early on.
Early.
Yeah, because he died while they were doing the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he had been in a couple episodes. It's a bummer, but yeah, even before all the Arrow shows started doing that, they were doing that and respecting the history of the character and bringing in other people that played the character in there.
You know who they didn't bring in?
Brandon Routh?
No.
They didn't bring in him. They didn't bring in Gene Hackman, but then again, he hasn't really been acting in years.
Yeah, but you know who they should have brought in?
Who?
Try to guess.
Otis?
I was about to say Otis.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Otis Berg?
Otis Berg. That's my favorite from the first movie.
Otis
Berg. Just a little bitty placement, the Luthor. Otis Berg.
Have you checked out any of the season 11 comics for Smallville?
No.
It's all right. It's kind of cool. So you get to see.
Put on the suit?
Well, he's in the suit. Yeah, he's straight up Superman. So like, you get to see how that universe of the character would continue on.
Yeah.
Past season. I wish they would. I've always wanted them to do like a TV, like direct to DVD sequel movie kind of thing, where it was just a kind of Superman movie, but Tom Welling and that universe and Lex.
Do you think he'll appear on Supergirl as like a cameo for anything?
Tom Welling?
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of hoping that he would play Superman. Yeah, but I think maybe someday he might cameo. I don't know.
As a villain?
I wish they'd bring Michael
Bizarro?
Rosenbaum to play Lex.
What if Tom Welling played Bizarro?
Yes, we always wanted that. We always wanted to see, because the way they did Bizarro in Smallville,
it's weird.
He's just like a douchebag, and he turned into weird, like crystally
why did he have like a sparkly Twilight face?
I don't know. It was really dumb. I always just wanted to see like the classic, just like dumb Bizarro.
Yeah.
Just me am Bizarro.
There was one bit in the Justice League cartoon where Bizarro was talking, and he said, "If me am reverse of Superman, you am Bizarro's mommy?" And he was talking to Lex.
What?
Yeah, because he was trying to figure out the reverse of everything.
Yeah.
So he was talking to Lex. He's like, "Does that mean you am Bizarro's mommy?" And everyone in the room just looked at him like, God, this guy.
What I really wish they'd do because they're doing this, they did the season 11 comics for Smallville.
Right.
I think that's still going on.
Is it?
Yeah. But I wish they'd do a motion comic of that and get the voices, get all the cast members back to do voices for a motion comic thing.
Yeah.
Which they did because a lot of TV shows have continued in comic book form, like Buffy and Angel. They have comic books and stuff, and they did like season 8 of Buffy and stuff like that, and they did a motion comic, but I don't think they got any of the voice actors. But I wish they'd do that for Smallville. Anyway, I think, is there anything else you want to touch on Smallville as we're celebrating its 15th anniversary? Clark?
I know.
Well, we talked about...
There's a lot of body switching towards the end there.
Yeah, we talked about our favorite thing. Yeah, that's some of our least favorite things. Like, that's...
You didn't like all the body switching?
Yeah, I mean, that they kind of really... Well, like I said, like, they never really out and out did anybody. Like, everyone just looked like a dude. It was just like every villain or hero was just a dude.
With a jacket.
Yeah, like a brightly colored jacket or an orange shirt or something like that. But yeah, I still love, like, I love the version of Aquaman they did in that show.
It was really good.
And that guy, Alan Richardson, I think? I love that actor.
Yeah.
I knew him as Aquaman first, but then I saw him, he was Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State, and he was hilarious in that show. I was just watching an old episode of New Girl the other night. He was in that show.
Yeah, I saw that episode.
Yeah, he had the micro penis.
That's him.
Aquaman with his micro penis.
Oh, good.
He was in the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. I don't know. I love that guy. I loved him as Aquaman. Then I found out he was hysterical when I saw Blue Mountain State. And Stephen Amell appears in Blue Mountain State. Yeah, this is before Arrow. He had a little appearance in there. That's a funny show. I never knew anything about it. I always saw it on Netflix, and some people were telling me, you should check it out. It's funny. I was like, all right, give it a shot. And I loved it. It's hysterical. Anyway, we got to plug in there for Blue Mountain State for no reason. All right, so we talked about Smallville. Happy 15th, Tom Welling.
He's like, oh, good, thanks.
Oh, good. They shut me up. All right, so let's continuing with the Superman super universe.
Right.
Let's talk about our TV show reviews. First up, we got Supergirl.
Right.
The season 2 premiere was called The Adventures of Supergirl. Loved it. I mean, I love that title. Classic feeling.
It's a good.
I mean, they're great with that stuff in that show in particular. The homages and stuff. Like this week, we got a lot of that, of course.
Yeah.
With Superman, like everything.
Who finally talks to people. Smiles.
Well, when I first saw
right.
this picture of this guy Superman, I wasn't quite feeling it yet.
Right.
I didn't know how he would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like when I first saw the first image of Henry Cavill as Superman, I wasn't sure about it either. Like he looked kind of like a dick, and kind of was a little bit, but I kind of, by the time I saw Man of Steel, I accepted that version of the character. But if I had a preference, I think I'd go with this version of Superman.
To be honest, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's
like he's not as big, but
he's not older either. He's super young, but they kind of explain that, you know, he's Kryptonian. He doesn't really age like a human does. Normally.
But he also smiles and
he smiles like
polite to people.
We talked about this when they show up in this episode. Okay, for all of these, for the next 4 shows we're going to talk about all the CW shows. Spoiler alert for all of these. Had a little while. If you're not caught up on these, just get
get mush.
All right,
get out.
So I love this Superman. He's established. There's a history with the character. Everyone knows him. When they first show up at the DEO, and it's the new headquarters that Supergirl hadn't. She's like, "Has this always been here?" Like I liked that. They moved up to Vancouver to shoot the show because they used to be in LA when they were on CBS. Now they're up in Vancouver where all the other
Canadians.
All the other CW shows are shooting up there in Canada. So they got a new set for the DEO, and I kind of like it better than the dank underground. Yeah,
because Supergirl should be bright.
And
kind of like the Flash.
Yeah, and I liked that. So then she shows up, and then Superman flies in, and everyone like straightens up, and they're like I love that moment, and it reminded me of in Man of Steel, like when he's walking with the handcuffs, walking through all those people, and it just dour and everything, and he was polite,
right?
In that I liked that he was just. Because, of course, he could break those handcuffs and leave at any time. But in this, like, he shows up, he's smiling and shaking hands and saying hi to everyone. And I really responded to that in this version.
Because that's the way Superman is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
hiding in the shadows in his sweat. Did we talk about that last episode where, like, there was a scene where he's literally watching TV in his sweatpants?
Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
God.
Yeah, this Superman's not sitting around in sweatpants. He's out there. He's a reporter. He's out there doing his thing. He's on the phone with Perry White.
Lois.
Yeah, he talks about Lois. There's a lot of talk about Lex.
Yep.
In this episode.
Which is good.
Yeah, what did they say? He had like 32 consecutive life sentences.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Oh, yeah. Lex is in prison now. But we did see his sister, Lena Luthor, who was like, you know, we thought she was behind everything.
Right.
And then looked like she was, you know, not quite a bad person by the end of it.
Or was she?
But yeah, anyway, see, they really did a great job with Superman in this, I think. But the thing that I really liked is that Supergirl still stood on her own.
Oh yeah.
So like they saved it together, and then like they saved the Venture, the ship.
She don't need no man.
The spaceship. She needs a Superman, but. It's kind of their cousins, so she don't need a man, but like, you know, help her out a little bit every now and then. Hold up a building or help her rescue a falling spacecraft.
I couldn't do it.
But she stood on her own, and I like that. But Supergirl stood on her own.
Right.
I'll kind of talk a little bit about the one negative I had in the episode in a minute.
What?
But I thought the visual effects were great.
It looks expensive.
Yeah.
It looks like really good. Like it doesn't look like a cheap.
I mean, for like you can always tell, like for TV, there's a little. It's not quite as perfect as a movie.
That,
yeah. I mean, they did a good enough job, like selling what's going on that, and it's for a TV budget. I think it looks fantastic.
Right.
And like, I really like all the visual effects they're doing for all these shows. Like, they're doing such a great job, and it's like kind of impressive that they're doing it on a 22 episodes a season.
She's got a lot of special effects.
Yeah, I mean, flying, heat vision. I love the way heat vision looks in this show, like the way the eye sockets light up through the eyelids and everything. The villain of the episode, John Corbin,
Metallo.
Metallo. At first I was like, wait, that is Metallo, right? Yeah. And I didn't realize it was before, because Superman was established. I wasn't quite sure if Metallo was yet, but so we got to see the birth of Metallo by the end of the episode. They're putting the kryptonite in him and everything. That's going to be exciting because Superman's coming back next week. They're going to have a round 2 fight with him. I heard the first 2.
Okay.
But he would appear, here and there afterwards. But he was for sure, in the first 2. I kind of like the dynamic between him and John Jones.
Not getting along?
The Manhunter, yeah. They kind of got a bit of a history, and like at first I was like, oh man, I don't want to
You don't want to see them not get
along? I don't want to see the super friends not be friends. But it made sense, like, he was head of DEO and they had kryptonite. Yeah. And I get both. It's one of those things where, like, like Civil War, you kind of see both sides. Right. And yeah, but, well, with Metallo...
If Superman just had like a little lighter and just kept flicking it on and on every now and then.
Yeah, he's like, I got my kryptonite too.
Mine is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, Zippo. Or just a shitty little Bic lighter. Got it for 99 cents down at the corner store.
And then he pulls out a Jolly Rancher and slides it in his mouth.
But yeah, I just...
Now that I really want to see that in Batman v Superman now. Yeah. Just him, those added scenes of him just...
slipping a Jolly Rancher in everyone's mouth.
Is that on the extended cut?
Yeah, that's the Ultimate Edition. That's why it's 30 minutes longer. Like, like the scene in the Senate building, the courtroom scene where she's got the jar of her granny's piss and she looks down. She's horrified. And you just see Lex poke up in the bottom of the screen and slip a Jolly Rancher in her mouth. All right. Oh, God. All right. What were some other things you liked in Supergirl and the pilot? Because you're not caught up in season 1.
I've seen some episodes.
Yeah, you watched key episodes like the Martian Manhunter reveal and the crossover with the Flash. You said you saw that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did I like from in this episode? I don't know. It's kind of the same thing we were talking about Superman. She's very bright. She's very happy. Yeah. She's very positive about things. You know what I mean? Like, it's the opposite of Arrow, where he's always like, leave me alone.
It's just an optimistic world view, and like I've said before, not every character is Batman, and not every character warrants that dark that dark atmosphere and everything, and that's why I'm glad that shows like The Flash and even Legends of Tomorrow is a lot brighter,
like fun and adventure.
They all have their own kind of tone, which I love. Right. Miss Tessmacher.
Yeah, I like that.
That was awesome.
I like that Supergirl doesn't know what, like in this episode, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where she's like...
Okay, that was my negative. Not necessarily her not knowing what she's doing. Like, because if you don't know, last season, Cat Grant, Kara was her secretary. Right. Her assistant or whatever for the first season of the show. And now in season 2... So now in season 2, she's got to make a decision of what her job's going to be. Kat, gave her an empty office and said, "Do whatever you want." And so now she's got to tell her what it is she wants to do.
Do you not like that? Because
I liked that. Okay. I liked that part of it, but it, like I was saying, like Supergirl stood on her own. Yeah. But I didn't think Kara quite did. Okay. Like, which I think is a kind of nice balance. Like, she's not having any doubts as Supergirl.
Well, it's kind of like Spider-Man, where when he puts on the thing, he's
more. For me, the issue I had wasn't necessarily with the job and her deciding she was going to become a reporter, which I thought was like kind of a no-brainer, and then she kind of had to arrive to that place that like I kind of felt like was kind of obvious all along, especially with who her cousin is, right, and stuff.
Who's her cousin?
What? You don't know who her cousin is?
Is it Oliver Queen?
No, idiot. But the problem I had was her and Jimmy just got together, and now they're already like throwing in these kind of BS like relationship issues that I didn't quite buy. I felt like that part of it was kind of just forced.
Well, maybe like she's figured out, or she's at least
figuring stuff out with everything in her life. But I figured,
how to be herself privately.
Yeah, but
that's a tricky thing to do. So maybe.
Yeah, but I just felt like the issues between her and Jimmy, I just wasn't buying them.
Yeah.
Like they both, if anybody gets it, Superman's best pal gets that life, and I figured they'd kind of explain it off a little better than the way they did, but it seemed like by the end of the episode, kind of back to normal. I don't know
if the chemistry was there for me between those two
at all, but you didn't see every episode.
That's true.
I thought they worked and everything, but I just didn't buy them already having problems like they.
I just think her and the Flash were adorable. Date.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. I think I kind of like them together, but, I do like Iris has really grown on me in The Flash over the last couple seasons. First, I wasn't quite in her corner on that.
Right.
But anyway, so that was my problem. But Jimmy, there's some stuff. Have you heard anything about this? That Jimmy is going to become the Guardian.
What? What do you mean?
So there's a character in the comics called the Guardian, and Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl is going to take on that persona. Now, Jimmy has never been the Guardian in the comics as far as I know, but a couple of other... James Harper, I think, is a character that actually appeared last season in the show, who became the Guardian at one point. And there's been a couple others, but it's a Guardian is a character that a lot of different people have taken on the mantle. So in the Supergirl universe, James is, and here's the first picture of James as the Guardian. Yeah, so this is what it's going to look like on Supergirl. All right, so this is Jimmy Olsen as the Guardian. He's got like a little shield.
Does he have any other like weapons or stuff?
I'm not sure. I don't know much about the Guardian. I think a lot of people thought Diggle might take on that code name in Arrow, but he's Spartan.
Right.
So I guess Jimmy Olsen's going to be Guardian.
I really wish they would have made Diggle Green Lantern.
Yeah. Like if his name was John Stewart Diggle.
Right. Like I don't even care how you would have to get around it. He would have been great.
Yeah. He would have.
Already in the army.
I forgot about that too. Yeah. Like I forgot that was a big thing. Like before. Yeah. What was it like before season 4 or something?
Yep.
Yeah. I wish they would have done that. All right. Someone actually recolored it. That's what it looks like in the comics.
Oh, with like the gold?
the gold and like blue and everything. I think that looks better.
Yeah.
I'll have to get both of these pictures and put them on the YouTube channel when we upload this episode. Up on the YouTubes. But I think I like the gold version that this. So that bums me out sometimes when I see these just artists online do better versions of the characters or costumes than the real versions and stuff. Anyway, yeah, so maybe eventually he'll color it up and give it a little lightness, because as we were talking about, the brightness of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, in Iron Man, like War Machine's thing, his started off as like a bright silvery
prototype. Yeah,
and then after a while, change it up. So
paint it up, Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what's coming up in Supergirl. But let's move on now to episode 2 of The Flash season 3, Paradox.
Yep.
Which I just realized, first episode was called Flashpoint.
Yeah.
This one was called Paradox.
Flashpoint Paradox.
Flashpoint Paradox is the name of the animated movie.
You didn't get that?
I got it when I saw. I don't always check the names of the episodes. I just play them and watch them and just get right in. But yeah, so this one's called Paradox. You know what? I think I actually like this one better than the premiere.
Okay.
The
really?
Second episode. Yeah. Did you? What about you?
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to say which one I like better. I just like the show so much.
Yeah. I think what I liked better, like, because what I said before last week, that nothing really surprised me. It kind of the Flashpoint world kind of played out.
Well, if you already kind of know what that story
like I expected, yeah. But this one, I didn't. It surprised me. It was things were happening that I didn't see coming, and like the way that Barry going back again and trying to fix the timeline, the effects that had on the, because this version of the timeline is a lot closer to the one from season 2 before he changed anything.
Right. With all the 15 berries in that room.
Yeah, but there's some smaller differences that are significant, but like especially like we knew from last week that Joe and Iris weren't talking.
Right.
We didn't know what that was, but when we find out, it's because he never told her about her mom still being alive, and it's just a small little thing. But the only difference is she didn't forgive him in this version.
Right.
So she kind of held on to that grudge.
Do you kind of feel like do you feel a little bit sad? Like, oh, I miss the old universe.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah. The difference is like that was a small difference, and by the end of the episode, they kind of fixed that.
Right.
And they kind of repaired that between the two of them. So nothing's really changed there in that regard.
Right.
But Cisco still has a dead brother.
He's bummed.
That
he is
bummed
different.
Me out.
Yeah.
He was a different Cisco.
I don't like this Cisco.
Yeah. But
he's just like, whatever.
But by the end of the episode, he went full on vibe.
Yep.
Like when Barry needed him, he suited up and went out there, and I loved that.
I got teary-eyed.
Yeah, because this is the first time. I mean, last season he pretended to be Reverb.
I love that.
I like that too, but this season was the first time he went out into the field as Vibe.
Yeah.
And actually helped him take down the rival. That was pretty cool.
I hope that they do that more.
Yeah, and they even hinted at that, and he was like, I don't know, maybe I need to take care of some things before and he's like, maybe someday.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it. Can you take care of those things in like between now and next week? Because I want to see more Vibe in the show, man. Yeah. Other differences.
Jay Garrick.
We found out what Diggle's how Flashpoint affects Diggle.
Yeah.
Now this is a big one because he instead of having a daughter, Sarah, he had a son named John.
Isn't that in Legends of Tomorrow?
Yeah, it is. Because in Legends of Tomorrow, if you haven't seen that, there's an episode called, I believe the episode is called Star City 2046, and it's 30 years in the future. Oliver is still out there. He's not the Green Arrow anymore, but he's living out there in the old headquarters, missing an arm, got a beard. I love that stuff. And then there's another guy who's taken on the Green Arrow persona, and it's Connor Hawke, but you find out Connor Hawke is really John Diggle Jr.
Yeah.
And so Barry made that happen.
Yeah.
So that version of Green Arrow in the future that's Diggle's son wasn't. That's why we were all like, when that happened, we were like, who is this?
Yeah.
Does Diggle have a son? Like, does he have a son that's gonna be old enough to be Green Arrow in 30 years? But got a son now, thanks to Barry. What else happened this week?
Jay Garrick.
Jay Garrick, yes. I loved.
And he's like, when he's going back, he's like, well, I guess I'll try to fix it again.
Yeah.
Nope.
Got by the Flash. I really liked that scene. I was expecting
You wanted more.
Yeah, I was expecting them to team up again.
Right.
Like, instead of the Vibe, I was expecting Jay Garrick to show
I
up
really
and
thought
save
Jay
him.
Garrick was going to show up.
I liked what happened, because I
Right.
liked the thing with Vibe, but Jay Garrick was saying he's been watching him, so I assumed he would come and save him after that. But
I like that he's a little bit more gruff.
Yeah.
Salty.
He's not his dad.
Yeah.
And he's letting him know that. He's like, listen, kid. Like, I like that stuff. Like, he doesn't talk to him like his dad his dad would. Yeah, I like that scene. What did they say? They were in 1997 or something? 1998? Yeah, I like that they were just back in time, stop off, get something to eat.
Is that when the old Flash was?
No, that was in 1990.
Oh, okay.
That would have been kind of cool if they stopped off in 1990. Yeah. I didn't think about that. That would have been a kind of nice, neat little touch.
I read something when they were considering putting him in his old outfit, but then they went with the Jay Garrick look.
Yeah.
You know
I'm glad they didn't put him in the old one.
It would have
it's too close to the flat, like Barry.
I would have thought about it. Like, it'd be kind of cool for.
We did get to see him in that costume once in the, when he was going through the Speed Force the first time in season 1. We saw a brief flash of, or maybe that was season 2.
What are you talking about? You're talking about John Wesley Shipp in the...
Yeah, it was when Barry was running through the Speed Force, and you're seeing all these different things. Like, you saw like Supergirl, or you saw like the Legion of Superheroes ring, or stuff like that, and you saw the old footage from the old show of John Wesley Shipp as...
Oh, you did?
Barry as the Flash, yeah.
What episode was that?
This was like season 1 or 2. I can't remember.
Okay, I'll have to look back.
But it happened at some point. Oh, we got a couple new characters. Dr. Alchemy was introduced.
Yep.
I thought that character was pretty interesting. Like, he's going around and people in that Flashpoint universe who had powers, he's giving them their powers somehow. I don't know who he is, but we also coincidentally got introduced to another character in Julian Albert, the guy. It's played by Tom Felton from Harry Potter.
Who's
Draco
he supposed to
Malfoy.
be?
I don't know. I don't think he's from the comics.
Okay.
He's just a guy.
Weasley little.
Yeah, I really like him though in the show. I think not the character, but well.
Annoying.
No, I like him.
I do like you, Barry. I was like, shut up.
I like him, but not you're singing from the, from you like Barry, so
right.
He's the main character. You're identifying with him. Yeah. I see him as just like how he adds to the show, and then the character's got to have conflict and stuff like that. It can't all be sunshine.
Plenty enough conflict already.
Well, yeah, but
everyone is up his ass. All the time about everything.
Now Draco Malfoy's up his ass.
Yeah, just leave him alone for 2 minutes.
I liked it.
Give him a moment of peace.
So that was another effect because they had been working together for a year.
Right.
At that point, so.
I don't like you and you don't like me. I was in Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh, so we got another thing at the end of the episode. Barry's like, after everyone leaves, it's just him and Caitlin.
Yep.
And he's talking. He's like, I think you got affected the least of everyone.
Yeah.
And for a second there, I was like, oh, now they're gonna reveal something.
Yeah.
I was like, is it something to do with Firestorm? Is Ronnie alive in this universe? I was kind of hoping that we might see Ronnie again.
She's an ophthalmologist.
But no, she's not. Yeah, at night. But no, she has got her. Looks like she's got her Killer Frost abilities now. I don't know how they'll retroactively explain that.
Do you think they'll turn her into a villain? Got the name Killer in the
Killer
title.
Frost is a villain, and as far as I know, and I didn't know this. I was actually doing a little bit of research after I saw the episode about this. She was introduced in the New 52. That version of Killer Frost. There was a Killer Frost before, but the Caitlin Snow version was introduced in an issue of the Firestorm comic. So that's how that's why those two characters are tied together and everything. And I believe they had a romantic relationship in the comics, but then she became Killer Frost. So yeah, I think eventually she's gonna go bad. I kind of don't want to see that, but
yeah, I like their little group.
Yeah, I like the group, but they're adding so many characters to the group.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone's got to go. They got to whittle that down a little bit. They're killing off characters, and then their doppelgangers are coming. And so it's just like, so yeah, eventually I think we're going to see her leave that group and become Killer Frost. But I haven't up until this point bought that she would ever leave the group for some, like what reason would make her leave the group other than the stuff that she's already been through, losing Ronnie and then
freeze powers.
Jay Garrick turning out to be Zoom. Ugh. And all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if I ever see that. But I'm excited to see what they do with it because I liked her as the Earth 2 version of Killer Frost. I thought maybe something would happen where that Killer Frost would come over and she would just take her place, and then something like that. But I don't know. We'll see. I expected they hinted at it a little bit, but they never really. Barry never outright said. Well, I guess he left it up to them. The group, if they wanted to know what their Flashpoint counterparts were doing.
Yeah.
I didn't care much about hearing what everybody else thought about it. I guess Cisco, I'm like, oh, it'd been cool to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I really wanted him to tell Wally.
Right.
That he was Kid Flash.
Yeah.
That was like
I thought he was going to say, like, the reason I turned it all back again was because Wally died.
Yeah. I don't think they needed to know that. That's kind of like, oh, I died. Like, that's kind of a little bit heavy.
Well, I mean, that would have given like a, hey, I sacrificed my mom because of you, asshole. Yeah. So, how about everyone get off my ass? And
yeah, I didn't like seeing Cisco
bummed out
about his brother, and
just
mad
around
at Barry. And I was like, I thought maybe Barry, it had something to do with a villain attacking him, and Barry didn't save him.
Right?
No, it was a simple like drunk driver killed him.
Yeah. Well, Barry wasn't there, so
yeah. But the reason he's mad is because he won't go back in time and save him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did like how Caitlin was like, well, you know what? You told Captain Cold that Barry was the Flash to save your brother. Sometimes you just got to do shit. Like, sometimes you just got to do shit because it's family and stuff like that.
Yep.
And he finally kind of got it, and then he came around in the end. So I'm happy to see him getting closer to what it was, but I hope he doesn't go too sad again anymore. Like, that's kind of a bummer.
He really, like, if you take him out of that, you really see how much he brightens up the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it got pretty dark when Cisco's not the one cracking the jokes or whatever. Anyway, we got a sneak peek of next week's episode.
Sneak peek.
Yeah, that one looked pretty good.
Yeah.
With, Jessie Quick coming back, and she's got her powers.
Yep.
So I think next week, Wally might start realizing, well, they were both hit by the
Where's my powers?
dark matter. He's like, where the hell's my powers? I want to be Kid Flash. And you got to see, Harry, Earth 2 Harrison Wells is coming back.
He's the Cisco now.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's
everybody.
the good one. But yeah, I love that the trailer ends with a run, Jesse, run.
Yeah.
I love that. But I think he comes back, what I saw of the episode description, sounds like he's trying to get the gang to talk Jesse out of becoming a superhero.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Well, why? Because you see what happens to superheroes in this year. Everyone's always getting killed and horrible things happen to everybody. Now, he wants to protect his daughter, but...
Do you think it would be too much to have both Jesse Quick and Kid Flash
I think Jesse Quick will eventually go back to Earth 2 and be the Flash, because there's no speedsters, there's no heroes there.
Right.
Because the real hero was Zoom the whole time. So the Earth 2 speedster that we know of, that version of the Flash, was not the Flash. He was the bad guy all along. So they're in need of a hero. If you think about it,
on Arrow, he had Arsenal and Speedy, kind of the same.
Yeah, but not at the same time.
Yeah, they did.
What? Arsenal and Speedy? No, he left and gave her the costume, and that's when
that did not fit.
No, I know, but that's when she
officially
became Speedy. Yeah, they weren't ever on the team at the same time. Yeah,
there wasn't ever like the three of them all. All right.
No, it was season 2 was when Roy was first started helping out, and he just had the red hoodie, and they eventually wore the mask in the last episode. Yeah. And then when they came back, it was just Oliver and Arsenal, and then eventually Black Canary joined up after Sarah died.
I really wish Arsenal would come back.
And Diggle was with them the whole time, and Felicity. Yeah. But and then it wasn't until last season, really, when Speedy became Speedy.
Yeah, I really wish Arsenal would come back. I really liked having him there.
Yeah, I wish.
But
I wish
again,
would too.
I do like Speedy there.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Since we're talking now, let's move on to Arrow. The Recruits was the name of this week's episode. We don't have a whole lot to talk about. We can go through this episode pretty quickly, but it was the Recruits, the team building. He's putting together a new team.
The Wild Dog was on a show called, what was it?
Well, he was on
Switched at Birth.
Was he?
Yep.
Well, he was on Reaper.
You know what his character's name was? Nachos.
Was it?
I kid you not.
Awesome. I like that guy. He's been in other shows. He was in I think he was in an episode or two of Mr. Robot that I saw, but he was also in Reaper, show that I've mentioned before that I love. He was remember I said that the 3 characters in Reaper reminded me of Miyu and Trent. He was the Trent character in that. So they're training Wild Dog, Mr. Terrific, and I guess she's eventually going to be called Artemis. She didn't have a code name yet in this episode.
It's always
Evelyn.
Sunny.
Every time.
Mr. Terrific, I like.
Yeah.
Wild Dog,
I really like Curtis, the character Curtis Holt, and he'll eventually be Mr. Terrific, and I love all that. He was kind of annoying me a little bit this week.
Why?
Well, I don't want him to be the butt of all the jokes.
Was he?
I like the character. Well, at first I thought he might be, with him doing the, trying to do the salmon ladder and failing miserably. I was like, oh, is he just going to be like, just the butt of all the jokes and everything? But, he had to put his foot down and stand up to Oliver later. I liked that. But like those little things, like when the girl was like, I thought it was going to be some kind of orientation. He's like, oh, is that what it said in the brochure? And he's like, that's hilarious. And he just kind of, starts laughing. He's just kind of he wasn't taking it seriously enough.
Right.
This dude last week got his ass kicked by a bunch of guys, and that's what made him want to become a vigilante. Now it seemed to me like he wasn't taking it seriously enough.
Yeah.
And that kind of bugged me a little.
Point.
The little inconsistency from episode 1 to 2.
Right.
But other than that, I thought the episode was pretty strong.
I was annoyed when he was trying to teach them.
Yeah.
And Felicity kept butting in.
Well,
I was look. Let him teach them for 2 minutes without someone going, "Don't do that."
I get that. I also get the other side of the.
Be nice.
I also get the other side of it where I get their point of it. Like they don't trust him. Like all they know is he's just this guy that's just beating their ass. Like he has to show some trust. Trust goes both ways, you know?
Yeah, but
I got that part of it, but yeah, everyone was like... Wild Dog was kind of bugging me. He kept immediately wanting to quit every 2 seconds. That was kind of bugging me, and I was like, come on, dude. Like, you're my favorite right now.
Bro,
like,
you would have gotten shot out there on the streets.
Yeah, he was the one doing the shooting, too. Wild Dog carries guns, man. That's like his weapons of choice, and I saw that was part of the character in the comics, and I was keeping an eye out for it this week. I don't remember if I saw him using guns in episode 1. Do you remember? Was he using guns?
No, I just remember him getting shot in the leg.
Yeah. Well, in this one, he gets strung up by his leg. I wonder if it was the same leg.
Probably.
Knowing Ollie. But I did like when he told him, he was like, you got to become someone else, something else. I loved how they used that line to kind of like get him on their team at the beginning. The flashbacks this week were, Oliver in Russia trying to join the Bratva with, doing the same exercise that they were doing. He was trying to teach the other guys. Mm-hmm. After when we eventually did you see that coming when they finally worked together to ring the bell and then they killed the other people?
Yeah,
you saw that coming.
Yeah,
I guess it wasn't. I don't know. I guess I really didn't think. I didn't think much about it. Like they immediately killed everybody once Ollie rang the bell.
Look on his face, like, did you have to kill all my friends?
Yeah, yeah. So then after that, I was like, I really hope Wild Dog, none of these guys ring that bell.
Is that what happens?
Is Ollie gonna shoot them all?
Felicity's got a machine gun on the other side of the bell.
Yeah. That's why she doesn't want him. She has to go easy on him. It's like, no, if they ring that bell, you kill the others. That's the rules. What about Drunk Lance?
Loved it. He's always coming into the room, hitching up his pants.
Walking like a cowboy in a Western, like he just stepped off a horse. Just pulling up his pants. He just looked like a slob. Like, it wasn't like his clothes didn't really look dirty or anything. They
just seemed off.
He just looked like a slob. It looked like everything was like a size too large for him.
And crooked.
Just looked like a goofy old man. But yeah, like I like that they finally got him past that, because I always hated that in this show, is like when Laurel was drinking all the time, and just I don't care about those kind of storylines. I don't care about your
problems.
Yeah. Oh, so your daughter died. Your other daughter. Your girlfriend left you. I don't know.
You lost your job.
I've always liked that character, but him diving back into alcoholism every time, it just kind of, I don't want to see that again. Like he's kind of gotten past that so many times, and to have him go back to that well, and I'm glad it was short lived too. Because it looks like, now he's found a reason to stay sober, which is what he talked about last week. What else? What else do you think about this episode? What else stuck out to you?
That's about it. I feel like we got through it all. Oh, Ragman.
Ragman. Yeah.
Ragman looking a lot like Zoom Arrow.
Yeah, Prometheus. Like, I think that might have been a slight mistake on the part of the show, is they, at the same time, they're introducing two characters who visually look a lot alike.
Yeah, I thought
Ragman and Prometheus.
They look really similar, and I thought Ragman was a bad guy.
Yeah, well, me too, not knowing anything about the character, I thought he was a bad guy too. And then by the end of the episode, he's joining the team.
All right.
And I thought they were done with metas too. I thought they were done with all the magic and metas, but now they got a superpowered guy on the team, which
Chloroform Man.
Yeah, his superpowers come from the rags, and I like that how they tied his origin in with the thing we saw last season, which I completely forgot about until it was in the previously on Arrow segment at the beginning. That what was it, Haven Rock? Yes. Was that the name of the town? Mm-hmm. That when Damien Dark set off those missiles to blow up Star City, Felicity tried to divert them and just ended up blowing up another city instead.
Yeah.
And he was the only survivor of that city. He said that his dad wrapped him in those rags and they protected him.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the comics, he's from Gotham City.
Oh, is
he's
he?
like a Gotham character. And I kind of feel like he fits in that kind of darker, grittier Gotham world.
Yeah.
But Star City's pretty damn close to Gotham in this show. So I feel he works here too. Yeah, but I was surprised by that. The fact that he was a hero just completely blindsided me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious to see more about that character because he was kind of impressive.
Yeah.
And I was doing a little bit of research and I kind of liked this aspect. He's kind of Ghost Rider-y in his methods and stuff.
Yeah.
His rags, that costume, the rags steal the soul of people.
I missed that.
I don't know if they necessarily talked about it in the show, but in the comics, that's the case.
Okay.
I was doing a little research. It says they steal their soul, and then he can. So, like, I guess if he stole the soul of like a superpowered person, he could use their powers.
Okay.
And he steals unworthy souls or whatever, but by using their souls to right wrongs and do good deeds and stuff, he actually redeems their souls. And over time, they eventually can go to heaven or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's said in the wiki or whatever. So Ragman. He's avenging souls. All right. I think we talked. Oh, Diggle. Diggle's storyline this week was nuts.
Yeah, it was.
He had a whole separate thing going on there. And
do you think that's going to tie in eventually to everyone else?
I think that's why he's going to come back to the team. I think he's like, oh, well, I thought the army was the right way to go, but
everyone's up my ass over there, so
fuck these guys. Like the first mission he gets sent on is some bullshit. Anyway, yeah, so I was like, something bad's going to happen here and he's going to come back, and then yeah, it's them all turning on him, framing him for some shit. So he's going to come back. Maybe he's on the run. Maybe he comes back and he's just living in the Arrow Cave.
In sweatpants?
Yeah.
Watch TV?
He's living down there. All right.
Look, Diggle, you're going to need to start paying rent, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, let's move on. Legends of Tomorrow. It's the last thing we have to talk about today. You're not caught up on Legends of Tomorrow either, are you?
No.
Okay,
but I felt like I was able to pretty much follow the episode pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because it didn't,
Yeah, there's not.
Difficult.
They kind of had a clean-cut ending last season, and now they're going on. I mean, the season last year ended with all the Time Masters are gone now, so the Legends are the new Time Masters. Mm-hmm. So over the past couple months since the last season ended, they've been off doing missions, and then something happened to them.
Yep.
And what was his name? Nate Haywood? Dr. Nate Haywood comes to Oliver for help finding the Legends.
I just like that they can do that now.
What? Just go to Oliver, or just bring in any of the other characters.
In for a scene.
Yeah. Like this week with Felicity was in Flash. So yeah, the team was lost. Oliver and they went to the thing. They found Mick in
great.
stasis. Yeah. I like the changes they've made in that, because I really liked Captain Cold in the Flash. And I knew that Heatwave was like a constant partner with him.
Yeah.
But Heatwave was always like, all right, so he's a pyromaniac. There wasn't too much more to his character. And then when they brought him in Legends, I really started to like that character more. And he kind of found a way, and like what I was explaining to you earlier, the history in Legends, because you didn't get to the whole thing with them leaving him for dead and all that stuff, and him turning out to be Kronos. A spoiler alert. If you're not caught up on Legends, which is now on Netflix, so all the shows are finally on Netflix now. I thought this was a interesting episode.
Yep.
Like going back and like kidnapping Einstein. That was pretty nuts. Did think Einstein looked a little bit goofy in the show, but then again, he looked like Einstein too. So
Einstein doesn't look goofy.
Yeah, Einstein had the hair, the mustache, and all that stuff, but it kind of took me out of it when I saw it in the trailers.
Really?
Yeah, and then when I saw the episode, I kind of got what they were going for with it and everything. But it still looked kind of goofball.
They could have done a little bit better with casting.
No, I think the casting was fine or whatever. It's just
his hair.
Visually, the character sticks out. Like like when you see it, you're like, oh wow, there's Einstein. Like it really stuck out in the previews and everything. Yeah, I didn't make any notes on Legends. What were some things that stuck out to you that you liked?
The very end.
The very end?
Someone popping in?
The JSA?
No. Before that. On the submarine?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so
can't believe you forgot about our favorite.
Yeah, I think the very end of it kind of got me so excited for what's to come that I forgot about that part. Yeah. So Damien Dark is in this episode. We see he's the last season, the big bad for season 4 of Arrow, who Oliver killed him in Arrow, and now that since this is set in 1942, this is the earlier version of him. And he's kind of immortal the same way as like Ra's al Ghul was, because he uses the Lazarus pit and everything. So he's been around for a while. So Sarah wants to kill him because he killed Laurel, or he's going to kill Laurel in the future. I liked all that stuff with Adam like following her and trailing her while the other guys are going with that. I was kind of bummed oh God, what's his name? Firestorm.
Jackson,
yeah, Jax. Because I forget, because he's not a comic book character, so I can't remember the name he has. I was kind of bummed as he was when he was like, all right, you stay on the ship, you fix the stuff. I'm like, he's more than a mechanic, man. Come on, he's Firestorm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, Rip is preparing them like for, life without him. And I'm like, why is he doing that? Like, and then by the end of the episode, Rip's gone. Like, we don't know where Rip is.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
I don't either. Like, I really like that character.
Yeah.
And then, by the end of the episode on the U-boat, they reveal that Damien Dark isn't working alone in this.
Who's he working with?
He's working with Reverse Flash, son. Eobard Thawne. That's vibrating hand man.
I was making vibrating noise.
So yeah, that was awesome. Like, I saw those red lightning streaks. So I was like, yes.
He's just such a good character.
Yeah, he is. And that guy's great as Eobard Thawne.
And what is he doing all the way back then?
I don't know. Well, he's a time traveler too, because he's from the future. Like, Eobard Thawne's from way into the future.
Do you think he's looking for Barry Allen's, like...
I don't know. It's gotta be... Doesn't it have to kind of be involved with Barry Allen? Or...
See, his only purpose of existence is Barry Allen.
Yeah.
So...
Well, he knows history. So he would know to go back in time to a certain point.
He wouldn't go back that far.
Yeah, I don't know why he would go back that far. So we got some answers to get to with why he is teaming with Damien Dark. But to be honest, I don't really care why, because I'm glad to see him as a... See, the problem is they don't have any speedsters in the Legends.
Nope.
They don't have nobody that can go toe-to-toe with no Reverse Flash.
Oof. It's going to get bad real quick.
Yeah, it's going to get awesome. And then the last big thing of the episode was, of course, the reveal right at the very end. They come face-to-face with the JSA, the Justice Society. Last season, it ended with Our Man showing up and saying he's from the Justice Society and warning them not to get on the ship. And then from Mick's retelling of it, it sounded like he just disappeared. So they were like, well, forget what that guy has to say. Let's get on the ship and go. So they ignored him and went out, and so they caused some kind of problem. And now the Justice Society is there to kick their ass a little bit and kick them into shape. So, and they don't have Rip to guide them anymore. So that's what I was always wondering, is Rip would know about the Justice Society, but he's not there. That's the piece that, like, it wasn't quite clicking in my head about how the dynamic between those two teams is going to work. But since Rip is gone, I see it being a little more of a confrontation and stuff.
So is each season of this, they're going to, like, change up the team like that?
Yeah, they're going to change it up a little bit. I've mentioned this before, but I was kind of hoping they'd go more of a Justice League Dark type feel to it and do, like, completely change, like, make it more kind of anthology-like, where the first season was all time travel, the second season's all, like, supernatural stuff, but looks like they're not doing that, of course. But I like what they're doing, like saying, like, Justice Society, hell yeah, let's do this.
So how come Legends of Tomorrow, they can zip around and mess around with time, but as soon as Barry does it once...
Jay Garrick yells at him?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they are not causing the problems, they're fixing the problems.
I see.
By Barry traveling through time, he's screwing everything up. They're going to fix, like, the bad guys doing it. Well... That's not completely true, because early on... A bad
guy was messing around with Barry's stuff earlier.
What?
A bad guy started messing around with Barry's stuff the first time.
Yeah,
He's trying to mind his own goddamn business.
Yeah. But, so...
Reverse Flash was all up his ass.
Enough time had passed, and that time kind of settled in concrete and stuff. That's another thing, is time if you change it, eventually with enough time, it becomes permanent.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see, like, the way how in Flashpoint Barry's memories were going away and stuff like that. So yeah, and they have more knowledge about what the time stream is actually supposed to look like because they have Gideon, the computer on the Wave Rider, to tell them. And now they also have a historian on their team, Dr. Haywood, which is, I believe, is going to become Citizen Steel. And there's a character named Commander Steel, who I believe is his grandfather, who's a member of the JSA. And so we saw, like, him, Obsidian, Stargirl, and someone else. I can't remember right off the top of my head who. But we saw a couple of those characters. Oh, and Vixen was there as well, Vixen. Which is the grandmother of the animated version of Vixen, which tonight also started back for season 2 on the CW Seed, which I'm eager to check out because I thought that was really well done, the first season of it. Mm-hmm. And I like seeing an animated version of these characters in this universe. So, anyway. Oh. Is there anything big about JSA?
Well, not about that, but the thing
about Legends?
The thing that I really liked was Ray Palmer running from a
Yes, that's what I was going to, like, I liked how, Rip Hunter scattered them all through time as a safe measure and left Mick in the Wave Rider. I like that. Oh, we were laughing about that, how
he's kind of just like, I've scattered everyone else.
He's like, I knew you didn't like me.
He's like, ooh.
Yeah. So he scattered them all through time, and the best part, of course, was the first one we saw. Ray was, in
what I liked?
dinosaur
he was running,
times.
He was like he had a beard and long hair. He's running from it, and then he turned around with a stick. He's like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
You want to dance, Mr. T-Rex?
That was funny. That just the idea of something of being funny. Go back to when we watched Arrow. Mm-hmm. The thing that made us laugh at the end of Arrow when
what's his face?
Yeah, Tobias Church.
Yeah. He's coming out of the club or whatever, and like his 2 bodyguards just get shot with arrows, and he just laughs and just keeps walking.
He just keeps walking, ignores it completely. Thought it was Green Arrow. It was not. It was Prometheus.
Yeah. Zoom Arrow.
He got a sword in his back. He's like, ah! He didn't expect that at all. But yeah, that made me laugh really hard. Both times I saw the episode, just the way that they went down, and he just kept walking. Didn't care. All right. Is there anything else we want to talk about Legends or any of these other shows?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
All right. So if you like this episode, give us a like on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, listen to the podcast on iTunes, and even if you don't listen to it, go on there, subscribe, leave a review, download the episodes from there. All that stuff helps us out tremendously. Plug your Twitter. I'm at Jeff_Grants on Twitter.
I am at StevenTeuchert.
That's at Steven Tugert on Twitter. And you can use the hashtag TheAmazingNerdiverse or TANPod to talk about this. Let us know what you think. Let's get a conversation going. All this stuff is simple. It's just a couple of clicks.
All it takes.
All right. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Time to wrap it up. Oh, go to TheAmazingNerdiverse.com.
Yeah.
It's a website.
Have not.
Yeah, check it out. We got the blog going there for the web episode. If you listen to just the podcast, we post all the videos on there as well as like some pictures of some of the stuff we talk about. Mm-hmm. All right, and until next time, I'm Jeff Grants.
I'm Steven Tugert.
See you next time.